Deku had full counter, part 2. So last time I asked you who should be the reincarnation of the goddess Elizabeth. Now, pretty much all of you responded with it being Momo. I think there might have been one or two of you that said like Melissa or like Ochako or something. But in the end, it's going to be Momo. Now, since Deku, I'm gonna say like the reincarnation thing kind of skipped a little bit. So, the reincarnation of Elizabeth hasn't happened in a while. So, basically, Deku is walking to UA when he sees a limo that's driving to UA. So he ends up just hopping on the back of it and decides to ride it when the window pulls down, only to see a girl with a black spiked ponytail ask him what's he doing, and he's like, "Oh, I decided to get a ride. You're going to UA too, right?" He's looking her just dead in the eyes. She's like, "Yeah, but why did you decide to hop on my limo?" He's like, "I told you so I could get a ride." So Deku ends up walking away, and he ends up walking away, or he's still there, and they walk into Class 1A together. They end up asking names. Izuku says his name's Izuku. She says her name is Momo. And that's when Deku realizes something, and he's like, "Hey, have you ever heard of the name Elizabeth before?" It's when she's like, "Oh yeah, I've been having these weird dreams with this girl Elizabeth, and a guy that looked exactly like you groping her." And that's when he's like, "Yeah, about that." Like as he says that, and, like the girl's just looking at her confused. So Zuko ends up explaining the goddess Elizabeth's stuff and how she's the reincarnation of the goddess while he's the reincarnation of Meliodas. And then he tells her that throughout the generations, Meliodas has fallen in love with like each Elizabeth reincarnation. So Zuko just walks into the classroom, leaving Momo just standing there like flustered, like, what did he just say? I'm so confused. So Deku is there, and everyone just like looking at him like that one 12-year-old kid when Ida comes up to him and says, "My apologies." Oh, actually I'm changing it to look like he's older than everybody. Somebody commented saying make him look like he's 16. So I'm making him look like he's 16. So technically he looks like he's older than everybody. So Deku looks like 16, and he's like, "Hello, are you in the right classroom?" And he's like, "Oh, come on, you did the same thing to me in the entrance exam. I'm sure I'm in the right classroom." Even though he looks like a year or two older than all of them. So they all sit down, and Eraserhead comes in and says, "We'll be doing your quirk. We'll be testing your quirks today." So he walks out. He walks out with everybody giving them their gym uniforms and coming. So they all come back out onto the testing ground. Now, when they're there, Aizawa throws a ball to Izuku and says, "Here, throw this with your full power." So Deku does a physical clone, making another one of himself as he throws the ball to the clone. As the clone takes out the dragon hilt itself and yells full counter, then the ball comes right back and he yells full counter. He just keeps doing this until the clone disappears and the ball just skyrockets. And like they can barely see the moon, only to see that there's a massive crater. Like they see the ball flying towards the moon, and then there's just a random crater on the moon, and like a couple cracks like spreading out from it, and everyone's like, "Oh, holy crap, did he just break the moon?" Everyone's just there, and Deku just like lifts his hand up and catches something, and he's like, "Oh, sweet, I got a moon rock." Everyone just looks at him, and they're like, "What do you mean moon rock?" And he's like, "Yeah, the ball I threw it up there, and it somehow caused the moon rock to come here." It's pretty cool. So everyone ends up doing their tests, and Deku undoubtedly easily gets first place. Since Deku got first place, and Moneta got last place, Zuko's obviously gonna be like the perverted one only to Momo, so Moneta is not going to, you know, have a place here, so he's gonna be expelled. So the next day, they get to do heroes versus villains. Now, everyone's pretty excited about this because they're like, alright, we can finally use our quirks in combat. So, they all go out after All Might, just like telling them the rules, and he ends up having Bakugo and Ida versus Momo and Izuku. So before like any of this starts, they're trying to make up a plan while Deku's just how should I say this? Groping Momo, basically. Like she's just like too flustered to even say anything, and like all the girls are just like blushing from the monitor room, just looking at what Izuku's doing. That's when All Might like stutters, like, you can go in now. The heroes may enter. So Deku stops and he's like, alright, let's do this. Momo like takes the time to recover from this, and she's like, yeah, let's go. So Deku and them are walking there, and he's like, okay, Bakugo's gonna come right after me, so you're gonna have to go around him. So Deku as soon as Bakugo comes around, he's like, damn it, Deku, die! As he sends a massive explosion right at Deku, as Deku just like yeets Momo like behind him and takes the explosion. He's like, now Momo, run! So Momo ends up running around Bakugo. And Bakugo ends up ensuing in a full-on fight against Izuku, with Izuku pretty much just taking his Dragon Hill and like batting all of the explosions away. And like just blocking all of the explosions. That's when Bakugo's like, yes, I finally have enough. As he rips the pin out of his gauntlet, he's like, die! All Might, of course, tried to stop this, but Bakugo didn't listen and fired it. And what happened? Nothing too good. Just, Bakugo, just Deku, like, getting hit with the explosion and getting launched into a bunch of buildings with the top half of his costume cut off, which is his just normal boar hat costume, because he's like, I don't need anything flashy. So when Deku returns, like, everybody, like their eyes go to see a dragon tattoo on his shoulder. That's when All Might says, so the rumors are true. The Dragon Sin Izuku is back. As everyone's like, wait, I thought that was just a myth. Isn't that guy like 100 years old and is the strongest person on Earth or something? He's like, yes, he's undoubtedly stronger than everybody here. He's the reincarnation of the Dragon Sin Meliodas, or the Dragon Sin of Wrath, Meliodas, who defeated the 10 Commandments, with the other 6 sins forming the 7 deadly sins. But I don't know why the other sins aren't here, but they should be. So Deku ends up like just dusting himself off, and he's like, oh no, Hawk's gonna kill me. Yeah, he probably won't be able to do anything. So Deku just like walks up to Bakugo. Bakugo's like, you think that one wasn't? How about a second explosion? Die! So Deku just pulls out his dragon health, and he's like, full counter. As it just sends it right back at Bakugo 10 times the power, which is another comment somebody told me. And so Bakugo actually has some resistance to explosions, so I'm just going to say that. But it ends up going straight back at Bakugo and knocking him out. So since it knocked him out, Deku moves on forward. Deku, obviously being just tired from the explosion, just like not even caring, he walks up and enters the room Momo told him which was the bomb. She was hiding behind a pillar when Deku just opens the door and just like falls down sleeping. Everyone in the monitor room's like, wait, I thought you said he was strongest. Is he conscious or something? That's when he's like, no, I think he's just sleeping. Everyone's like, he's really just sleeping. So Deku, or Sir Ida's like, huh, so Zuku's come here, but he seems to be sleeping. He says, like, poking Izuku's head and like, huh. That's when Izuku just wakes up. He's like, huh? I knew I shouldn't have been drinking that much last night. And Momo ends up touching the bomb. And with that, the heroes won. So when Deku's walking back to the monitor room, everyone starts to question him, like, why did you say you knew you shouldn't have been drinking that much? It's like, oh yeah, I work at a bar called the Borsa. You guys should come down sometime. Maybe even taste my food. I think it's pretty good. Deku says, just like laughing. And everyone's like, but aren't you too young to be drinking? And he's like, nope, I'm 112. I think that's how old I made him. Not really sure. So, yeah, that night everyone found out Izuku's a horrible cook, but Hawk is a talking pig. So, Aizawa ended up asking Deku why he couldn't erase his quirk. So when Deku's like, oh, that's because it's magic. And everyone's just like, yep, we believe you, clearly. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm sorry that it's a little bit shorter, but hey, part 3 will be out tomorrow. The only reason it's not part 6 of What If Deku Was One Punch Man is because I'm still thinking of an idea to make it a longer episode. As you guys wanted me to make it a longer episode, even though it's like an epilogue thing where there wouldn't be like many attacks, but I do think I have an idea. So, yeah, part 3 tomorrow, part 4 is going to be on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday is part 6 of What If Deku Had One Punch Man. See you guys, bye.